All right, here we go. All right, hey everyone. My name is Sam Murray. I'm a transportation management specialist for Arlington County, Virginia, and I'll be presenting on our project entitled Planting Seeds for Regional Roadway Safety, One Traffic Garden at a Time. It's a design and installation guide for traffic gardens brought to you by Arlington County, Virginia and Prince George's County, Maryland. And it was put together with consulting and writing and design services from Kittleson and Associates, Discover Traffic Gardens, and Neoniche. So to give a little project background, I think some of the key highlights, and again, it's a partnership between counties and in the capital region between Prince George's, Maryland and Arlington County, Virginia. I think it sets a great example for potential partnerships and collaborations going forward, and a great example, again, of all that's possible on that front. It's also a first of its kind, step-by-step project guide, really taking you through a lot of the considerations that you might want to think about when you are embarking on putting together a traffic garden project. I think traffic garden projects in general are a different way to practice active transportation planning, both for people who are getting newly exposed to it, as well as practitioners who do it for a living. And it recognizes the perspective of children as fundamental in terms of how we plan and evaluate the outcomes of our transportation system. So more project context, it's part of an ongoing, local national cascade of traffic garden projects, including a few temporary and pop-up versions in Arlington County, as well as Prince George's first permanent version. Traffic gardens are an item in the Vision Zero action plan that Arlington adopted in May of 2021. And then the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments Regional Roadway Safety Program grant provided a great opportunity for us to put that action item into action. And some of the Vision Zero coordinator meetings that Christine Baker of Arlington and Andrea of Prince George's were involved with. Through some of those, we came to realize that we were simultaneously working on traffic garden projects, and this type of grant would be a great opportunity to collaborate for that and other things going forward. So a little more about the project approach and intention. It really captures the spirit of traffic gardens in that it's introducing principles of transportation and transportation design. We're not only teaching children how to use transportation safely, but they'll also value and demand transportation safety. They may grow up to support or even plan the designs for safe systems in their communities. So the rest of the slideshow will give just a project overview. We'll kind of roughly track the step-by-step process that the guide does, but also I've tried to kind of title and group the slides into functions and considerations of the guide, which you can see here, and that the slides will kind of roughly track. So we really try to introduce and contextualize the traffic garden concept, both to people who might be familiar with it already, or also to people who may not have any idea what they are. So we provide blurbs that kind of give the purpose and benefits of traffic gardens, as well as stories gathered through interviews with people who've conducted real projects that kind of get people to see the opportunity for action there. We include appendices, including this one, that users can give to people who they're kind of getting involved in projects who may really not have any idea of what these are. Again, providing great overview of all the purpose and benefits of them. Before really getting going, we really try to get people to define the vision. And in terms of that, there's no real intended particular audience for this. Although we are, in terms of that, there's not one particular type of person that you have to be to use this guide. We want it to be very flexible, but at the same time, we are targeting initial distribution to people who work with children in terms of how they get around, school systems, community site managers, namely PE educators. Arlington is currently without a Safe Routes to School coordinator, Parks and Rec departments, et cetera, really getting people to ask questions like who will use the traffic garden? What does a good team look like? All the types of questions for considerations throughout the process that you might see or that you might need to consider. We give kind of this flow chart that you can kind of reference and follow even at the beginning to really try to gather all of your visioning thoughts together. And in that, we kind of try to take a step back about the process before diving in. Again, we identify accessibility as a really key component of the project on multiple levels, kind of range of abilities and modes that can access the site. But also we identify funding as a key component of project success. We realize that there are no dedicated funds for traffic gardens yet, but we provide a variety of examples of creative ways that people have drawn funding and that kind of demonstrate records of success. So we try to make this flexible for many budgets. We recognize that budgets and plans may need to change over time. And in that spirit, we really try to encourage people to view funding as a visioning process. We encourage them to vision first and vision away. We note that the project itself is a product of both programs and a grant visioning ways to improve our communities. So in that sense, the guide and future projects serve as a kind of microcosm for not only navigating transportation networks and how they function, but how they continuously come to be, again, funded by programs and grant money that are dedicated to visions for safe systems. And I like to think that this project is somewhat emblematic of how visioning processes that attend to our caretaking and aspirational needs of life happen, again, on multiple infrastructural scales, from the process of creating large transportation systems to small traffic garden projects to the practice of accounting that underwrites the funding directing those activities, and how navigating the lessons of those infrastructures is vital for our well-being. So we stress here not to think of money as an object external to us that can grow on trees or is governed by laws or nature, but rather a phenomenon embedded within human relationships, which are governed by our own laws and institutions. So these relationships are, some would say, continuously mapped or represented as visions through accounting, as legally inscribed mediation to coordinate caretaking and aspirational activities into the future with respect to named and valued resources. And so here we ultimately implicate the funding process as a phenomenon embedded with human agency, discretion, and opportunity for action on many interrelated scales, which is reflected in projects like this, and that contain world-shaping potential that is always already there to be realized within communities. So in doing that, we provide people with tips and information and workspaces that they can use to see themselves in the process, get the ideas flowing, flows that kind of describe the process and allow you to visualize the process in action, principles to keep in mind, examples of layout drawings, checklists, including different features you might want to include, examples of images of signs and stuff like that. We have color coding that helps you kind of track the information that you need, whether it's for a permanent or more of a pop-up project. Again, it's for a range of project types and user capacities. We try to make it usable and actionable, again, including lots of icons, symbols, and graphics. You can see, the page numbers or, signage that kind of provide an orientation as you go through the guide. And we stress the importance of maintenance and care by the end of projects, getting them awareness as well as institutionalized, keeping records of them to know how they're doing, maintaining them and operating them. We provide layouts that provide templates that people can reference and use, including ones with bike lanes and shared lane elements that may replicate infrastructure they see in their communities or that may be aspirational. And again, we demonstrate these records of success that people can draw on and that people can see the creative ways that people have done projects themselves. And so all of this is really part of a process of building inspiration and memories and agency within a larger landscape of active transportation movements encompassed by Vision Zero. And it's an opportunity for really all kinds of people to play a role in a new but foundational way involving how children perceive getting around. And so you all are invited to use this guide, to reference it, make it your own, and to share what happens afterwards. So my email for any questions or outreach, smurrey with an E at arlingtonva.us. The guide will be published online within the next couple months through our Vision Zero newsletter. But if you would like to request a copy, personally, I can email that to you as well. But I think with that, I will hand this off to the next presenter.
Thanks, Sam.
Absolutely.
A lot of information. I know it contains a lot of information, and we've asked our speakers to limit it to just a little bit of, like in get everyone else in. I'm trying to restart our owl here. All right, Tiffany, I think you are up. Great.
Yes, and I'll go ahead and share my screen, my sound as well. Give me one moment.
Okay. Can you just on?
Okay. All right. Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiffany Jennings, and I'm the Bicycle and Pedestrian Program Manager at the Department of Public Works and Transportation in Prince George's County, Maryland. And you just heard about this really great tool that was created for Prince George's County, Maryland, and Arlington County, Virginia, called Planting Seeds for Regional Roadway Safety, One Traffic Garden at a Time. Wanted to just give a quick shout out to the Transportation Board, as Sam mentioned, of the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, for funding this really great tool. Prince George's and Arlington received that $35,000 grant to do the resource guide, the traffic garden guide, and that was, of course, completed by Kittleson and Associates, Neo Niche, and Discover Traffic Garden. So we wanted to first thank them for all of their great work on this wonderful tool that all of you all will be able to utilize. And so fill in your toolbox to build a traffic garden. What is a traffic garden? Many of us think we know what a traffic garden is. And so we're going to, for those that may not know what a traffic garden is, we're going to just break it down for a little bit. Traffic gardens, also known as traffic playgrounds, they could be traffic parks. They're safe places for not just children, but families and individuals to learn about the rules of the road while doing so in a very safe environment. And so what you see before you are just some images of traffic gardens. The one in the center is the Prince George's County Vision Zero Traffic Garden in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And so children are playing, riding bicycles in a very safe environment while learning the rules of the road. And then we have colleagues from both DPW&T and Maryland Department of Transportation that are providing information on safety, as well as bike lights and also Vision Zero information at this traffic garden. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Prince George's County Traffic Garden. So there are two different types of traffic gardens, two different categories, which you'll learn about in that very informative traffic garden guide that Sam just mentioned. There is a fixed traffic garden, and there are mobile or pop-up traffic gardens. The fixed traffic gardens are permanent traffic gardens. So in Prince George's County, we're super excited to have opened our first traffic garden that is a permanent traffic garden in May of 2021, actually on Bike to Work Day. And that traffic garden is located on the rear of Perrywood Elementary School, and it's adjacent to the Largo Kettering Perrywood Community Center. It's in close proximity to Watkins Park, Watkins Regional Park, as well as the Watkins Park Trail. It was designed and installed in-house, so it was very low budget. Actually, it was very, very low budget because we didn't have a budget for it. So our engineers actually designed it, and our team actually installed it. And we partnered with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to actually construct the traffic garden on their property. So it was indeed a collaborative effort. As mentioned, DPW&T, we partnered with Park and Planning. We also partnered with Perrywood Elementary School, and together we operate the Vision Zero Prince George's Traffic Garden for the community's enjoyment. What we have here is a video for you to see that talks briefly about the process for the design and installation. It's about a 48-second video, and I'm going to show it for you now. So that was a little bit about our Vision Zero Prince George's Traffic Garden from, of course, the beginning where we first started planning for it. We designed it, we installed it, and we completed it. And so, of course, again, it was very low budget and very doable. And today it's enjoyed by persons of all ages. Children and families come out to learn about traffic safety on the Traffic Garden. And so these are just some images of some of the things that we've held and done at the Traffic Garden. And so to the right, you can see up top, we have our police officers from Prince George's County Police Department. They are actually at the Traffic Garden, the back to school event that we held at the Traffic Garden for the children at Perrywood Elementary School. And we also had popsicles on the playground. So the key really with all of these events is to partner. The advantage with the Vision Zero Prince George's Traffic Garden is it's on an elementary school site. So the children are actually already there. And so during the daytime, the Traffic Garden is open for the school's use. And after school hours, the community is able to utilize it. So the community center has an aftercare program and children are able to use it because it's on the Watkins Park Trail and adjacent to or in close proximity to Watkins Regional Park. You have individuals that are using the park that also have the ability to utilize it. So the one thing that you want to really think about when you are constructing or designing your Traffic Garden is who is your audience? Who will actually be able to utilize it? Is it accessible? Is it visible? And also, of course, most importantly, is it safe in a safe environment? So these are, again, these are some of the images from our couple of events that we've had at the fixed permanent Traffic Garden. Now, this, of course, is a pop-up Traffic Garden or a mobile Traffic Garden. And so with these Traffic Gardens, you can actually have the items that you need to install the Traffic Garden. It could be in a kit, or it could be just something that you put up for a specific event. Here we actually had the Traffic Garden, the pop-up Traffic Garden at the 8th Annual Green Summit, and the Department of the Environment actually had that event. And to the right, again, we partnered with the Police Department, the Bladensburg Police Department, to have a traffic safety day for the community. Before you, these are, of course, some additional events. These were pop-ups as well. And these are what we call on add-ons. So at the Traffic Garden event that we held, we have a traffic sign prize wheel. So the little ones, they can actually take a turn spinning the prize wheel. And on that prize wheel, you'll see that there's signage. So you'll see a stop sign, you'll see a pedestrian crossing sign, and the children, after they go through the training about what the various signage is, we test them on their knowledge. And so they get to guess what the sign is. And of course, if they guess right, they receive a prize. If not, we'll explain to them again what each of the signs means. And so you have the mini Traffic Garden design table that we have here, and Miss Quinn actually with Discover Traffic Gardens actually designed some traffic kits for Prince George's County that we utilize regularly. And so here the children are designing mini Traffic Garden kits. And to the right, we have the traffic safety memory game. At the Traffic Garden events, whether they're pop-up or whether they are at the permanent Traffic Garden, you can do various safety activities such as distributing bicycle helmets, as we did here, and bike lights, as well as the safety belts. And again, these are just different images of various partnerships. At the top right, we partner with the park rangers, with the Maryland National Capital Park Police. We've partnered with Capital Market, Creative Suitland, a number of different county organizations, as well as regional agencies to provide safety information at the Traffic Garden. And if the children do not have their own bikes, you can partner with entities that may provide the bikes for the event. And that is all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to place them in the chat. And if you would like additional information, feel free to contact me, Tiffany Jennings, twjennings@co.pg.md.us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. All right, now we're going to head over to Caitlin Sparks in Dayton, Kentucky.
Great. Everybody can see my presentation there.
Yes, it looks great.
Great. Oh, wow. I'm going to take a big, deep breath. There's a bunch of construction happening right outside my window all of a sudden. So I hope that that doesn't mess with the audio. Anyway, so my name is Caitlin Sparks. I am calling in from my hometown, Dayton, Kentucky. And I'm the communication and events manager for Tri-State Trails. Our website there, tristatetrails.org. Just a little bit about Tri-State Trails. We're an alliance of community advocates advancing a vision to connect and expand our region's trail and bikeway network. We believe safe and accessible trails and bikeways build stronger, more vibrant communities, and that everyone should feel safe making the choice to walk or bike in the greater Cincinnati area. So that includes metropolitan Cincinnati, Hamilton County. We work in Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio across 10 different communities or 10 different counties. And we're often talking to folks about the benefits of trails, how they improve public health, how they increase transportation equity, and enhance neighborhood connectivity, and all of these wonderful things. So we're promoting that, and we're doing our work through our regional trails plan, which is a strategic plan for our whole region and how we can connect all of the trails that we have and build where we don't have what we need. We have an active transportation policy platform. We do trail counting and monitoring. We have resources for bike commuting, like our low stress bike map. We have an active crash dashboard. We do trail features on our website. We also have committees like our Regional Trail Bikeway Committee and our Active Transportation Coalition, where practitioners, professionals who are in this field like you all, and just everyday folks can network and come together and figure out how they can make positive changes in their community. We also have an active blog, events, and so much more. So please check out tristatetrails.org if you're curious about our work. So one thing that we worked on at the end of last year, we applied for a grant for the first time, this funding for the first time from the Governor's Highway Safety Association for the city to build a traffic garden in the city of Dayton, Kentucky, and that's what you're seeing here. Dayton, Kentucky is one of the river cities along the Ohio River, and then you can see right across the river is Cincinnati. You can also see our bridges here, one of them being the Purple People Bridge, which is a really important connector for Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. It's our only pedestrian and cycling specific bridge. So Dayton's positioned really uniquely in the region where we have this small walkable, bikeable community, and we're very close to our regional trail system to get people into downtown and back and forth and so on. So we applied for this grant because Dayton is a great fit. And so, yeah, we're talking about the tools in our toolbox. So one of the big ones is the funding. So we applied for this funding from the Governor's Highway Safety Association, which is funding thanks to the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. The National Road Safety Foundation provided the Governor's Highway Safety Association money, $75,000 total, to give 3 states $25,000 to put towards projects that are for youth safety mobility, and specifically in underserved communities with fewer financial resources. Again, so that was another reason why Dayton really fit this grant perfectly. And it's a significant first for our state. We don't have traffic gardens in the state of Kentucky, and we don't have any in this region. So this is now going to be a cool model project that we can all learn from. Another tool, a really important tool, are partnerships. So we wouldn't have really known about this funding opportunity if the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and specifically the State Bike and Pedestrian Coordinator, his name's Keith Loven. He's attending the Bike Summit currently. So if you see him and meet him, say hi. But he sent the funding on to me and asked if I had any projects in mind for youth mobility safety. And I said, yes, I do. I have a traffic garden project. And we knew about the Traffic Garden project because we met Discover Traffic Gardens at last year's Bike Summit. My colleague, he attended the in-person tour of the Traffic Gardens that maybe some of you all got to see yesterday. And we were just fascinated. We thought it was such a great idea, so fun. We then later invited Rick Holt, who is on this call right now, to come and present the idea and share the idea with our regional trails and bikeway committee last summer. So Discover Traffic Gardens has been a really, really important partner, and we've learned so much from them. And then also our local pedestrian and cycling organizations who we partner with all summer long on our pop-up bike shops. So we've been building a relationship with the city of Dayton for the past couple of years. We've hosted these pop-up bike shops where we bring in a crew of volunteer mechanics, and we work on community bikes. Here's a couple of kids that are pretty happy. We fix the bikes up so that they're safely operating. We also pass out lights and locks. Here we're installing a walled bicycle basket on an adult bike, and that's Kathy Cunningham, who's also in this room now. And we're fixing up bikes, putting helmets on heads. And so these photos, all 4 of those photos, are actually on the site where we're going to build our traffic garden. And what's kind of different from my project from the others is our project is not built yet. So we're just in the early stages of it. We applied for funding. We've got the right partners in place, and so we started to tell the world about it. So the Governor's Highway Safety Association, they put out their press release at the end of February of this year. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and Tri-State Trails, we partnered on a press release that we put out shortly after that in early March. And then so this is the Governor's Highway Safety Association, their press release. This is a clip of our blog where we're putting out our press release. We're showing people examples of what it is, because a lot of folks are like, what is a traffic garden? And the name is interesting. A lot of folks think that we're building a community garden, but it's fun to show them that, no, it's a little different. But what was cool about our partnership with KYTC is we got this wonderful quote from the governor, Andy Bashir, and he's a dad. So he was, it was just really wonderful to get this quote from him where he's excited to see that every Kentuckian child is going to have, after this project, we're going to learn from each other, and he wants to see this happen more and more. So we got this awesome quote from the governor. We got a quote from the Secretary of Transportation. And then that started to pick up in just local news. Also, our local NPR station picked it up, and some television reporters came out and saw the site. And so, yeah, we've gotten a lot of press. People are excited about this project because it's just such a win-win situation and such a positive story. I think that people are kind of hungry for that right now. So another tool in our toolbox are community advocates. The city of Dayton has been just amazing to work with, specifically the city assistant administrator, who highly recommend finding that person in your community, because they've helped us connect with the mayor and the city council, the city administration, the park board, and the city public works. And now all of those organizations are interested in helping us make this project a success. The schools have been a really important partner as well. In this lower photograph, I don't know if you guys probably can't see it, but in this photograph is the elementary school and the high school, and then our site location is very near that. So the elementary school uses the park for their recess and outdoor activity time. And the local businesses are also great advocates because they're just excited that they're going to have another thing for their customers, for this community that they are investing in. There's going to be this cool thing for young people to do now. So they're really excited as well. So this is a picture of our site. And it's interesting to look at all of the examples that exist of traffic gardens, because so many of them are kind of shaped like a basketball court. We do have a basketball court right there, but that's not our site. Ours is this long strip of concrete and this bigger concrete area, and hopefully around this pavilion. So it's a little, it's you know, organically shaped, it's a little different, but we're gonna make use with what we've got. We're really excited about this location because it's so close to those trail systems, like I mentioned earlier, and it's in a public park, so everybody's going to be able to use this. Here's a closer image. So we're going to be doing concrete repair. This electric utility box is going to turn into a train. We're going to give the whole park a facelift with murals on the concession stand and on the garage. We're even going to make use of these garbage cans because they're concrete, and we're going to paint them. So my final tool in our toolbox is to be creative and flexible. When this grant came onto my desk, it was one of the first grants that I had actually written for, and it was certainly the biggest one that I had ever written for, but I just thought, I'm going for it. So I encourage you to just go for the grants, write them, and you just never know until you ask anyway. And then traffic gardens can be built with big budgets or really small budgets. You can make it happen with either, and make use of with what's available to you. Our project is just in the beginning, like I mentioned, so we've had to be really flexible, and we've actually pivoted on locations in the site a couple of times, but it's actually worked out really well, and we're really pleased with where that's landed. And yeah, and just like bringing all of those partners in, they're going to be so enthusiastic and thankful about a traffic garden project in their community. It's, like I said, a win-win situation. It's a fun project for young people, and it like literally brings tears of joy to people that you're working with because it's got such a positive outcome. So yeah, so those are the tools that I have been working with. And again, my name is Kaylin Sparks, and I'm with Tri-State Trails. So please reach out to us if you have questions, and definitely follow us on social media and on our website as we start to develop our traffic garden.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. We'll just stitch that together at the, okay, let me get. Nope, that's not Andrea. Okay. And now we have Andrea Garland from Roanoke. Okay, I hope that works. I'm gonna stay close in case it doesn't. Your clicker. And can you see that? No, I did. All right.
Yeah, we're seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hello. Thank you for my co-presenters for doing such a wonderful job. I hope you guys already know what a traffic garden is and how wonderful they are. My name is Andrea Garland. I am the director of the PDM program for the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission. That is in Southwest Virginia, so about 200 miles from south of here. And today I'm going to tell you about a project that is completed, and I'm going to welcome you to the West Side Traffic Garden, a success story from beginning to end, and just hopefully inspire you to do excellent projects like this. So what I talk about it. All right, so this video is the traffic garden. This is the day of our ribbon cutting with members of the public, members of the school, members of the school board, superintendents of the school of Roanoke City School, members of City Council for Roanoke City. This traffic garden is located at the West Side Elementary School in Roanoke, Virginia. West Side Elementary School serves predominantly Black and low-income students. So I think one of the things that I'm really proud of it, other than, well, besides being a wonderful and really high-quality project, is that from the beginning on this project, everybody was on the same page to really deliver a quality project to with the equity and inclusion at the front board of our goals for this project. This video was shot by a drone with collaboration of our local public news station. So that's just really great. So the first, I wanted to tell the story of the traffic garden as a story of firsts, because there's a lot of firsts in this specific traffic garden. This was the first traffic garden to be laid out by a robot. So this is robot. This is surf tank. Surf tanks, this device is used by athletic departments to lay down athletic fields. So the Roanoke City Schools had one. And really, you know, it all starts with, you know, you will see that the common denominators, and everybody has named this person sitting here in this room. But when she knew that this kind of device could lay out a traffic garden, and we really had all of the players in place to make it happen. But there was just a lot of deliberation and a lot of effort from the Roanoke City Public Schools to really make it happen. That it really laid it out. So if anybody tells you about laying out a traffic garden, it can take, you know, up to a whole day, you know, just sitting, like just literally measuring things. With this, essentially what you do is you load up the drawing and it's all geocoded and georeferenced, and the little guy just goes around and does it in 20 minutes. So, and that was like the pre-layout, so like all the white lines. There was, the painting came later, but it really saves a lot of time. So it was a great effort. It's a great leap on like knowing that it can be done. This is also the first traffic garden in Southwest Virginia. So this map, which actually I clipped from the guide, that shows all of the traffic gardens that are like around this area in Arlington and north of Virginia, Maryland. Well, anything south of that, there's nothing until you get to Roanoke. So that's really the first traffic garden for Roanoke, the first traffic garden for Southwest Virginia. So that is something to celebrate and be inspired by. Roanoke, Virginia is a city of about 100,000 people, and you know, serves as kind of the seat for the Southwest Virginia, the biggest metropolitan area. This was also the first traffic garden to be technically and not funded by a highway safety grant. So the DMV, like highway safety grants are that are through NHTSA, are administered in Virginia by the DMV. It's grant funding to implement traffic safety campaigns. The city of Roanoke has taken the initiative since 2019 to use this funding to implement traffic safety campaign for vulnerable users. So we had, and that was part of my job back when I worked at the city of Roanoke. We introduced this campaigns, really focusing on the law and like just very friendly way to just tell motorists what the law is and how vulnerable users are affected by it. So our first campaign was every corner is a crosswalk. Our second campaign was no need to speed. As part of the third campaign, we wanted to bring those two messages together into the school zones. And when I'm writing the grants, and then as each grant process came along, we always tried to find some engagement opportunity that will be in a legacy that the campaign will leave. So because we were talking about schools and traffic safety, you know, of course, and I have known Finola for over a decade, and I have seen her projects grow to what they are today. I knew that this was the opportunity I had for bringing a traffic garden. Nobody knew what a traffic garden was. I don't think DMV knew what a traffic garden was, but it was written in the grant as actually it was written in the grant as a pop-up and a STEM workshop. So it was kind of an education. We put it as part of education. So it was like we'll hold an education program with the students and we'll do a pop-up traffic garden. That was the vision for this. That's how it was written. And so there was also, it was the first, it wasn't the first workshop, but STEM workshop, but it was the first time that as part of a traffic garden workshop, educator's guide was developed. So again, because working with Discover Traffic Gardens, you know, they make everything like just so beautiful and perfect. Not only they held a workshop with the kids at the school for the STEM program, but they also let the kids, the teachers of the school with a full guide, step by step of how to hold the STEM program, how to teach those activities that we were teaching on one afternoon, and like boxes with kids and things that the kids can use hands-on. So that's the story of FERTS, really inspiring. Let's go for a second. Okay, so I have mentioned, so none of this really, so I mentioned how kind of the grant was written. It was written to be a pop-up traffic garden and a summer program. But these people are here, and I will even include myself in there. But they are the champions of this project that made it really happen to what it is today. So starting with the gentleman in the pink suit, he is the assistant superintendent for Roanoke City Schools. So as I mentioned, we were talking to Roanoke City Schools about making this campaign part of the school zone safety program. And we invited him to the kickoff meeting just to participate and tell him about it, just, you know, be informed. Well, he was on board from the beginning. I think that everything just resonated with him. And as we went along with our meetings and our communications, at some point, he was just like, we have a parking lot at this elementary school that is in an underserved community. You know, why don't you just paint it? You know, and everything just kind of happened because of his leadership. As I said, he is the assistant superintendent for Roanoke City Schools. So you hardly ever get that level of attention, but when you do, just take advantage of it. He made the robot happen. He made just about everything. We would just be stuck with something, and he would show up and things would just happen. And he always showed up in excellent outfits. So that was also really great. Then our Dr. English, she is the principal of the school. She got involved later on as we had already selected the site and kind of already even had the design in place. And we brought her in and the conversations really to talk about the STEM program and delivering this workshop. And I think we got her a STEM. She was passionate about STEM. She couldn't get enough in hearing about it. So I think because we're really lucked out on having a principal that was very passionate about STEM education, she was on board with the project, very grateful, and just really facilitated all of the pieces of the workshop to make it successful. And this guy over here, he is Hong Lu. He is the city traffic engineer. I have worked with him for years. And it is, you know, he really is the person in the ground in public works. He works with public works that really makes things happen. You know, he's the guy who knows who to call, who has the tools, who has the paint, who has anything. He has worked with me for years. I used to, when I first started working with him, he used to tell me no to everything. And now he just gave up. So he just basically, you know, I tease that he now just works for me because I really just call him up. And so he really single-handed basically painted the entire traffic garden. I mean, I said that I will help, but I basically held the bucket. But yeah, very proud, and he's just very proud. I told him that I was going to talk about him on this presentation, and he told me no. So here's some pictures of the STEM program. Again, it was held in an afternoon during school. So the school has an after-school program for STEM education. We have over 25 kids. You know, they learn about gravity, peripheral vision, speed. It was just a fun afternoon. This was delivered before the traffic garden was complete. As you can see, not all that was what the robot had done, but it was very engaging, very just kind of seeing that it was just uplifting and a great success. So really just to finish up on like the toolbox, like my toolbox, my tool for the toolbox is that teamwork, but really we know that it's a teamwork. We know that all of these things happen with a bunch of hands in the bucket, but it really finding for me was what I have realized is that you find a team that works, and finding that team takes time. Like none of these things happen quickly. I have known Finola for many, many years. I have been in this field for over 12 years now. So you start building all of these little pieces of what your passion is and where you want to get to. So again, so the no needs to speed, or the traffic safety campaign, that was our graphic for that year. We have been working with the planning and design on that campaign from the beginning. They have been our consultants. The campaign has continued on, like every year is a new, it's a new message, but just that team has been so focused and so deliberate, and we had completed so many projects with success that we have continued to work on it, and just makes things, move along and be a lot, and just deliver really good work. Of course, Discover Traffic Gardens for this project was essential. Anything that was traffic garden in this project was done by Discover Traffic Gardens. So there is nothing to hide it. Of course, again, Roanoke City Public Schools, I think that they just heard the message. It was the right message. I feel like a lot of us, and I'm as a traffic engineer, I've always wanted to really get to the schools and just be like, send us to school, send us to school. We still haven't done that at the city of Roanoke yet, but I have put myself into what are their needs, and so anything from looking at speed limits on the school zones to doing counts for some program or other. So little by little, they have learned to listen to what the message that I'm bringing, and I think that this project just all of a sudden just clicked for them and has opened the doors for other conversations. So just happy to that's what I got.
Yeah, thank
Hopefully
you.
it's time for questions. And I do have a contact information here too. I have cards.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything if
There's
you need it.
Andrea's contact. Okay, so we do have some time for questions. So we went from, if you remember, Sam presented on the universal guide that's floating around. It's a pretty thick, document. So maybe keep that going around. To building a traffic garden on zero budget, to the very early stages of a traffic guarding and getting a grant from the Governor's Highway Safety Office in Kentucky, and to doing a traffic garden and STEM activities with the kids. So a lot of great information here. So let's see, what kind of questions do we have for our great
And there was a lot of
panelists?
questions and
Yeah, there were some in our, in the chat.
There were a couple of questions in chat. One of the big ones was a good resource for sourcing all the hardware materials for building a traffic guard on the signs and things like that.
Okay, so the question, and I've heard that people online have a hard
Sure,
time
no
hearing
problem,
questions, so I'm gonna repeat it since I'm standing right by the owl. How can people get their hands on traffic signs that are size appropriate for a traffic garden and other resources? Okay, and I think Fanula,
Yes.
our Discover Traffic Garden expert, is gonna answer
Yeah.
that.
Because there is really no source. So instead, what I've been is curating the sources, and those are in the guides. That's part of what the guide's doing, is giving you where to go. We're working on it, and in a couple of days, there will be a first complete $1,000 traffic garden sample set, which will save you so much work. Like it's a full set, you can buy half of it for, and it's not me, it's I've heard a transportation, stencil maker. So they're very much their size and in every way for traffic gardens. So that is in place. There's so much work for everybody and it's great information. And that's the kind of project I'm working on right now with other people to try and make things. A lot of what's out there right now that people are using, it's really aimed at like preschools, and it doesn't really work right. It's too low or small, or it falls over. So really trying to get to where this stuff is made for what we need, so I'm talking to companies and trying to get them to put together what's needed, and then I'm sort of, we'll just send people off. It saves me a lot of time.
The guy named Warren Steele in Texas, he went to Steel Garden, and he makes appropriately sized traffic signs And you'll make them, I'll do it like one.
Okay, yeah, so there's a comment in the audience about Warren Castile, who's in Texas. He's an LCI. I know Warren, and he has a company that makes signs. Is that what I hear? Okay, so Warren Castile, he's on the LCI Connect Locally now. We can contact him on the, I haven't seen him here
He's not here.
at the summit. Okay.
I'm the only one.
Okay, and then what Vanilla was saying was, there's information about sourcing that in the guide as well, which leads me to another question: how can they get the guide?
Sam, our first speaker, he said he'd be welcome to send it out. I'm also sending it out to people upon request of the PDF right now that we're just sending. But both Prince George's County and Arlington they're going to post it soon. They've been working on it, but in the meantime, just contact any three of us, Tiffany, myself, or Sam.
Can we have that as the LCI resources?
Yeah, we could probably link it on the league website. I mean, it's not specific to LCI, so. So Sam, did you want to add anything to that, or Tiffany? Because I know Arlington and Prince George's County worked hard on the guide.
Sure. I know in Prince George's County, we are actually going through the approval process through our leadership, our county executive's office. And so we do plan to have it up on our website, as well as the website of, actually, we're going to have it on the county, Prince George's County, Maryland website, Department of Public Works and Transportation, and Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, I would say in the coming weeks. And so probably April would be a good time to look. And you had mentioned that you might be able to upload it on the league website as well, so they'll be able to access it, or maybe.
Yeah, we could figure out a way to broadcast.
Allison, I now have a resources page on my site. This isn't the only guide. Philadelphia has a guide. There are other guides. Washington State made their own guides. All this stuff is emerging right now, and I'm just putting it on my website so people can find it and trying to keep that up to date.
Yeah, and Sam, did you have anything to add?
I mean, same timeline, maybe slightly different details. I think it'll be our county website, the Vision Zero website. The May Vision Zero newsletter is when we're at the least targeting a big blurb announcement, but we will definitely have it up on the website before then. I think Tiffany's estimate of April is probably the best, range to just say for now, but sooner rather than later on that front.
Yes, and Allison, if I can add, and I didn't mention Vision Zero, and I absolutely should mention Vision Zero. We are a Vision Zero jurisdiction. Our county executive, of course, launched it in 2019, and we know the goal is to eliminate traffic-related injuries and fatalities on roadways. And so we will definitely have it on our Vision Zero Prince George's website as well.
Okay, great. Okay, any other questions?
There was another question in chat that was more or less answered, but for the benefit of the people here, what's a good resource for finding a traffic garden near me? Is there a resource online for where they're all listed and located?
Yeah, the question is there a resource to find a traffic garden near your community?
No, I have a personal database of about 400, but that's like for my work. I'm working with Penn State right now with a professor where some students are going to, as part of their course, do a map for the US with, showing everything. And I haven't found them all. There's lots of them out there. The same with traffic gardens, and this is something else I've worked on. We call them all different things. I have an English list that has about 30 different names for them. I have lists in about 30 languages of all different names. That's how I find them. So that's part of why I use a single term. They can call themselves whatever they want, but to find them, so we can start to research them and understand them, we need some collective things. But there's a map that's coming.
Yeah. So that was answered online. Okay. All right, so in the room, Anna.
Yeah, miniature paint art program, so I'm doing a lot of paint on pavement as well, and I was wondering, maybe it's very climate specific and location specific, but I thought the street paint, but like what kind of paint are you, like exterior face arts or painting?
For the traffic garden
Well,
in front.
the question was, what kind of paint their people are using?
For the traffic garden in Roanoke, we use traffic paint.
And the answer is traffic paint.
I usually specify traffic paint, which has a limited palette, it's only 6 colors, but it's very high quality. And because you see, nobody's driving on these, the traffic paint lasts much longer, but there's also color, and that isn't in the traffic palette. So there are other products, and like there's great products like street bonds, which are superior to traffic paint. A lot of it's to do with budget, but it's also to do with your surface, like, you know, there's asphalt, there's permeable asphalt, and there's concrete. So you have to first say what your surface is, and then of course there's the logo and stuff. But basically high grade products that are for asphalt for your region.
Okay, Steve.
So is there a specification for the age that you're trying to deal with? And, cause I was noticing some of the kids in that one video, they seem to not be able to get it speed. Small or how big, and so I was just wondering, is there, you know, these are the things you should have and things maybe not to avoid if somebody's learned along the way. That might help somebody out, like basic users have.
Yeah, so the question is about age. What age is targeted for the traffic gardens? Andrea, you want to take that?
I see if I said it correctly, but like 4 to like 6th graders, more or less, like 9.
Well, it depends, like it depends on what the criteria are, like what the person is, they're very flexible.
Yeah, so
People
you
are
said
designing them
shouldn't even
for
try.
thing. Like they may be designing it for preschool and elementary school, or like visited Alexandria on Sunday, and that was designed for adult learners also. And the streets were wider as a consequence, so it's really a design input. And also a lot of sites, and part of what you saw there was children at the ribbon cutting who had been put on bikes that were borrowed.
I'm kind of curious to hear from Caitlin and Dayton. What did you write an age into your grant of what age you're targeting?
For our grant, we did talk about like pre-K, kindergarten, probably up to like 3rd grade.
Okay. Yeah, I think it
What-
depends.
Yeah,
And
what you'll see is
the
different
wide
areas, and in DC, you know, there's traffic gardens going in all over. You'll see areas designed for the balanced bike part of students, and other areas designed differently in the same traffic garden for older students. So it's a very, because it's such a flexible thing,
Yeah.
you can design it to both at the same time.
Tiffany has a additional comment.
Yes, yes. Knowing your audience, for us, for Prince George's County, we actually are doing elementary school children because of course we are on an elementary school site. And so for us, it is pre-K through 6th grade. And of course, when you're having events, you target those. So like one event may be targeted for pre-K through 3rd, and then you might have an event for 4 through 6, and the events or activities may be different. So we may have more signage, understanding traffic safety signage for the older kids. They may not necessarily ride the bikes around the traffic garden, but they'll learn about the signage and how to recognize the sign, how to recognize what a bike lane is, and so forth. And so knowing your audience, I think, is key.
Yeah, okay. Jim, last question from Jim.
The LCIs use smart cycling skills, which are mostly crash avoidance, quick right turn, quick stop, things like that. And I wondered if it's successful to include those in the traffic garden, which is mostly for traffic situations. And do you integrate the pedestrian facilities also?
Sure. The question was about the smart cycling and avoidance maneuvers and bike handling skills that we teach in smart cycling. Are those accounted for or included? And do they include pedestrian in facilities and traffic gardens? Do you want to take it?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, sure.
the traffic guard, most of what you're looking at, what I've worked on is they've been designed to other programs, so they've been designed to those programs and those curriculums. So that program has not been part of what they're working on. You know, it's usually like, you've got the second grade PE program in DC. Always, you know, we want to include pedestrians. You know, it doesn't work properly if you don't also have that interaction. Being a pedestrian isn't the funnest part on the traffic garden, so you build it in ways, all the crosswalks, mid-block crossings, little pathways, and we do cover in the guide. There's a couple of pages on the different ways to do pathways and sidewalks. Usually the sites are small, so you're actually pretty constrained fitting things. If you start adding things on the street width, like one, it's getting wider, so your cross streets are getting shorter, but you also have to watch that you're not confused. It has to be readable to the students. You can't have lots of proliferation of lines. It has to be very readable. So it gets into that, but absolutely, everyone's trying to use them for pedestrians. And what always happens in a traffic garden, if you watch it, like when public are playing, the adults all pop up and start like, oh, I'm crossing the street here. And the kids love that. They go to the crosswalks. They start play acting the pedestrian and creating that interaction. But yeah, the sites are often small, so that you have to kind of do it in other ways, but absolutely pedestrian key.
Okay, I know we're just slightly over time. Thank you for 5 extra minutes with the session, but we're gonna close there. I think this will be available as a recording online in Huba and then eventually out to the public. So contact information is on there and in Huba. So please.
No, there was a question on Cuba that was related to the cost that I thought I wanted to address. I don't know, if that's appropriate. Is it too late?
Do you want to answer it?
Yeah.
Maybe answer it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. 6, 7, 8,